today we are going to study the other side of the coin. I mean, what we are going to study today is a very known tshuva, response about, how do you say, autopsy? ניתוח אחרי המוות, when you operate a body. Autopsy, right?
Autopsy, yeah.
Autopsy, yeah? Autopsy. That wrote the נודע ביהודה. And the tshuva is very known because this is everybody quotes it in order to explain why you can't use it. This tshuva in our modern life and when you are regarding a state. So it's not a source that proves that there is. I mean, you can prove, many times you can prove to bring all kinds of explanation, or at least not more than explanation. You can prove your opinion in two ways. One is to say, this is my positive argues, yeah, in order to arguments, my positive arguments in order to prove it. The other way is to say that you can't use the opposite. I mean, it's so nonsense, it's so impossible, so therefore there's only one option. So this is what we are going to do today, okay? So we'll read the question. We'll not read all the tshuva because the tshuva is actually built from two parts and we are interested in the second part. And after learning the second part, we learn the problem that there is and all kinds of approaches towards what the נודע ביהודה said, okay? So, okay. So let's read, I'll not translate too much about the question because you can do it by yourself, okay? Al dvar kontreso, you see that he was the rabbi of Prague from 1755, so it's 250 years ago, approximately, this tshuva, okay? על דעת קונטרסו, אשר שלח אליי, אשר העריך מערכה בנידון השאלה שבא עליו מקהילת קודש לונדון. It's a question that, I mean, it's a rabbi, actually it's his, how do you say mechutan? You know, not the son-in-law, it's the father of the son-in-law, the father of the son-in-law, okay? So, he was a rabbi, and he wrote, the rabbi got a question from London, he wrote a big answer, and then he sent the answer to the נודע ביהודה to hear his opinion, that he will review it, okay? So, במעשה שאירע שם, באחד שחלה בחולי האבן בכיסו. Okay, so he had a stone probably in the kidneys or whatever, okay? והרופאים חתכו כדרכם בעת רפואה במכה כזו, so he was operated, ולא עלתה לו תרופה ומת. Okay? What is the question? ונשאלו שם חכמי העיר אם מותר לחתוך בגוף המת, במקום הזה, can you do autopsy, yeah? כדי לראות במופת שורש המכה הזאת, in order to understand, to analyze, what is the root of this illness, כדי להתלמד מזה בהנהגת הרופאים מכאן ולהבא. אם יקרה מקרה כזה, שידעו איך יתנהגו בעניין החיתוך הצריך לרפואה, in order to learn how to operate all kinds of illness, ושלא להרבות בחיתוך כדי למעט בסכנת החיתוך. And he started to deal with the question אם יש בזה איסור משום ניבול למת או ביזיון למת, and so what is the reason to say it's prohibited? That's and המתיר רצה ללמוד מחניתה שמצינו בתורה ביעקב ויוסף וחניתת מלכים כמלכי ישראל, ואם כי זה היה לכבודם, גם זה כבוד המת להיות רווח והצלו על ידו לטובת העולם. Okay? So the rabbi there that wanted to say it's permitted said, we know that you can, there is in general, there is an issue to not to bury the body immediately. And more than that, there is an issue to לנבל את המת, to utilize the body, and you must bury it immediately. But we see in Tanakh, he said that for the honor and for the glorification of the person that died, you can wait a few days for the funeral, and more than that, you can do all kinds of things to the body, like chanita, like we read in what they did, the Egyptians did to I don't know how, that's a word I don't use daily, so I don't know it. So so therefore, but then he asked himself, okay, but this is being done for his glorification, not for someone else. But if you assume that to do good things to other people is part of your, your honor, so therefore you can 1 + 1 says that you can do it. You can do all kinds of things to the body, and he deals with this and that and that, and this is the first part of the tshuva. But we are interested in the second part, and it starts on the first line on the other side of the page. את כל אלה כתבתי לפי דבריכם. No, excuse me. But actually he says, I don't understand even the question, because you assumed that I need one sentence. You assume that there is a pikuach nefesh. No, let's start, from the first line there, okay? So he says the following. את כל זה כתבתי לפי דבריכם, שאתם קוראים זה פיקוח והצלת נפש. Okay, so in order to explain what actually is the question, so they draw on the table both directions. To say it's prohibited, it's because there are all kinds of halacha that you can't utilize, and you can't do anything with the body, and you must bury it. And from the other side, you can, learn, study about bodies, and then you can rescue, and you can operate other people from the knowledge that you will learn. So you have to balance between those both sides. So therefore, okay, so you know what, the answer should be actually yes, because it's a kind of a sefek pikuach nefesh. And because it's a kind of a sefek pikuach nefesh, or pikuach nefesh, in order to save someone else's life, so actually it should be permitted. But I'm rejecting, or I'm denying, says the Noda B'Yehuda, the definition of this situation as a pikuach nefesh. Why? And he writes, אבל אני תמה, הלא, אם זה יקרא אפילו ספק הצלת נפשות, what's the question? אם כן, למה לכם כל הפלפול? והלא דין, זהו דין ערוך ומפורש, שאפילו ספק דוחה שבת החמורה, ומשנה מפורשת ביומה, וכל ספק נפשות דוחה שבת, ולא ספק שבת זו, אלא אפילו ספק שבת אחרת, עיין שם. So actually he says, I can't understand the question. If your pre-assumption is, or are, that actually it's a debate between the halachas that say how should you, what should be your approach towards a dead body, and trying to balance it with dinei pikuach nefesh, that's no question. Everything should be permitted. Even if it was sfek pikuach nefesh, it should be permitted. It's also doche Shabbat. So if it's doche Shabbat, definitely it will lidchot kvod hamet. So what's the question bichlal? Yeah? That if, I'm saying again, if you're right, that these are the pre-assumptions. But the Noda B'Yehuda actually argues that it's not the pre-assumptions are wrong. And he says you can't define this situation as sfek pikuach nefesh. Why can't you do that? And he writes, ואומנם כל זה ביש ספק סכנת נפשות לפנינו, that's the word, לפנינו, כגון חולה או נפילת הגל. Okay? And now he says the following. When you are permitted to do things in order to prevent pikuach nefesh, It's only when there is a current situation in front of you. So let's say in this case, if someone else had the same disease, and it's a mystery for you, you don't know what to do, and you'll know what to do if you will operate the body, and if you analyze what happened to the dead person, that's pikuach nefesh. Yeah, but only if there is a current situation, or another example, nefilat agal. That means someone is under rocks. Yeah, gal is rocks. Yeah, and a big rocks covered him. You are, even if you are not sure if he's alive, or even if you don't know anything, there is this fake pikuach nefesh. You are permitted to do everything, but again, this is a current situation. This is something that is in front of you, okay? But, וכן, אפילו לעניין ממון, אוקיי, אבל בנידון דידן, אין כאן שום חולה הצריך לזה. There's no one is, you don't know anything about anyone that has this disease right now, okay? רק שרוצים ללמוד חוכמה זו, אולי יזדמן חולה שיהיה צריך לזה. Yeah, that you want to learn what to do, maybe in the future there will be the same case, okay? So he says, ודאי, דלא דחינן משום חששה קלה זו, שום איסור תורה, או אפילו איסור דרבנן. That's not enough. The fact that there is a chance that one day this doctor will will find himself in the same situation in order to save the new case life. He must know what to do in this case. That's too far. Why? שאם אתה קורא לחשש הזו ספק נפשות, אם כן, יהיו כל מלאכת הרפואות, שחיקת ובישול סמנים, והאכלת קנה איזמי להקזה מותר בשבת, שמא יזדמן היום או בלילה חולה שיהיה צריך לזה. Okay? So he says, this is the slippery slope. But it's not a slip, it's not maybe you'll slip in the slope. It's by definition. Because if you are starting now with these ideas that you need it in order to face the future challenges, then where will you stop? Where will you stop? We gave an example, I don't know, I'm not sure you remember, a few weeks ago. Let's say that the traffic lights are out of order here in this junction. Can you say that maybe an ambulance will come and there will be an accident, so therefore you must fix? Or let's say there's someone that replaces tires. Is he permitted to open his store and to do everything in order to be ready that maybe someone will take his wife to the delivery room and will have a flat tire? So where are the boundaries? And now he says, ולחלק בין חשש לזמן קרוב לחשש לזמן רחוק, קשה לחלק. Yeah, and to draw the line. And to say, if there's a big chance, you're permitted. If there's a low chance, a tiny chance, it's permitted to do autopsy. In this case, so how will you draw the line? He says, I can't draw the line. What, 20%, 80%, how to draw the line? Definitely because you don't know what are what are your expectations, but you don't know what will happen in the future. I mean, the fact that you are concerned and you think and you are estimating and thinking that this thing will be in the future is actually nothing that you can use, okay? So therefore, I can't draw the line. And he continues, וחלילה להתיר דבר זה. Now you see he's very, it's not that he says, probably it's wrong to do that. He is very strict, חלילה לעשות דבר זה. That means he feels that once you'll permit autopsy for a case that is not a current situation that is in front of you, this is the end of halacha. This is the end, because actually you will permit to do, even to go to a factory to produce vaccines and you know, all kind of things on Shabbos, because maybe there'll be something whatever, so therefore, וחלילה להתיר דבר זה, ואפילו רופאי האומות אינם עושים ניסיון בחוכמת הניתוח על ידי שום מת, כי אם בהרוגים על פי משפט או במי שהסכים בעצמו בחייו לכך. Okay? Now he says that's something that we'll use in a second. He says, let's look around, let's look what are the doctors all over the world are doing, and even they are not so, you know, they're not so, איך אומרים, אנשים גסים, they're not, okay, I mean, they're not doing such a thing. They are learning to be doctors, they're learning medicine only or on executed bodies of executed people, or people that permitted to do that, signed a informed consent when they were alive to permit to donate their body to science. Now I'm asking, if I would have sat in front of the Nadav Yehuda, I would have asked him, so what? Why are you saying that executed bodies, people that were executed, you can use? Why?
Executed?
Yeah, executed. Yeah. Or are you saying that if someone gave a permission before he died to do that, you are permitted? So why? What is the logic argument? Yeah? Okay, now he says, and again, ואם אנו חס וחלילה מקילים בדבר זה, אם כן ינתחו כל המתים כדי ללמוד אנתומי, כל סידור האיברים הפנימיים ומהותם, כדי שידעו לעשות רפואות לחיים. ולכן העריכות בזה הוא ללא צורך, ואין בזה שום צד להתיר. Okay? So, actually, this is a question, how you define פיקוח נפש. Yeah, in this case. Now, when we read it today, 250 years after it, we really can't understand what he says. And I will want soon to be his lawyer. I mean, I will say good things about the idea, and we will learn the Chazon Ish soon. But first of all, you see that the gap between this tshuva and our idea about pikuach nefesh, yeah, because he says, wow, oy gewalt, people will start to learn anatomy, yeah, and to be MDs on dead bodies, and I feel very good. Why are you frightened? You know, he sees it as a terrifying possibility, and I see that as, I wanted the doctor that will touch me to practice, not on computers and not on balloons and I don't know what dolls. I want to practice on dead bodies. That when he comes to me, I will not, you know, there's a known joke that someone came to an operation and the doctor says he's really terrified. So he asked him, why are you afraid? So he said, I read in the internet that 2 out of 10 people are not waking from this kind of operation. So that's, don't worry, my 2 are dead already. Yeah, so, okay, so in order not to be part of those 2 in the future, so now, this is a tshuva, you can, I mean, because of 2 reasons. We have, it's something that we really can't understand for 2 reasons. First of all, it's not connected to the state, it's connected to modernity. In modern life, autopsy that will be in Melbourne in 1 second, all the conclusions, all the information that MDs, that doctors that can take out of it will be distributed all over the world. And okay, I will tell the Nadav Yehuda, meto mutal lefanav, that's right, meto mutal lefanav, but today mutal lefanav is also in Melbourne. Yeah, I understand. So that's one question, but this is not part of our shiur. how can you read this kind of tshuva in modern life? My problem is my question is regarding what we are studying, that means controlling or conducting a state. Actually, let's ask the Noda B'Yehuda, how do you really want doctors to be trained? What is actually the halacha? What does the halacha says that Jews or doctors in Israel, in the Jewish state, actually will see the first body that they'll see will be the first patient without practicing. You understand that problem? Because this is a question about probably the doctor is a Gentile, there's no Jewish doctor. It's only a question, will I, as a rabbi, will agree that they will operate or do autopsy on a dead Jewish body? Okay, but these are not the questions that we are asking. We are asking questions, and we have to ask ourselves, in a Jewish state, what will be the system of training doctors?
And these are the same questions about organ donation also, right?
No. Organ donation is something different, because organ donations, first of all, it's the claim there is completely different. Organ donations, the rabbis that say that it's prohibited claim that this is murder, because taken before the brain death is not recognized as halachik death. So therefore, according to halacha, according to their opinion, this is someone that is alive. When you are, we call it harvest. Take the liver or the limbs or whatever part of it is, actually you're killing him. So this is not connected to this issue, okay? But in this case, I can respect the halachic opinion. I think it's completely wrong, and as you know, I'm working in a completely different conception. I think to donate organs is a big mitzvah for Atzalat Nefashot, but I can respect this opinion. Not only respect, I also can represent it. I can explain that this is their opinion, even though I don't agree with it. Our challenge now in this shiur, first of all, to be the spokesman of the Noda B'Yehuda and try to explain where is his answers, not to the question, because the question was written on, under circumstances where there were no Jewish doctors, there were no Ministry of Health. Let's say that today the Ministry of Health is a Haredi Knesset member. Okay, so can he adopt in a Jewish state? I'm not talking about the modern state. I'm not talking about the liberal state. I'm not talking about democracy. I'm talking in a Jewish halachic state. Is this the policy? You understand? This is the question. Now, let's first of all defend it. First of all, he actually said two reasons why am I I'm limiting the permission to do that. And he said, one, this is the slippery slope. You don't know where to draw the line, because if you'll start to say, so you really will come to all kinds, and we know it, and you will meet it. Everyone that will be here, a soldier, will meet it. That one of a staff surgeon says, to brush your shoes on Shabbos is pikuach nefesh. Why is it pikuach nefesh? Because the Arabs look how are you dressed on your outfit, and when they see that you didn't brush your shoes, they feel that you're clumsy or whatever, so therefore they will throw stones or even shoot, because they'll feel safe. So in order to avoid pikuach nefesh, you should brush your shoes on Shabbos. And we meet it. You really meet it on Shabbos, and many times, many times. And so where to draw the line?
Do you brush your shoes?
What?
Do you brush your shoes?
Mapitom. So therefore, when do you say yes and when do you say no? I remember that when I think it was in the basic training. I think it was more than 40 years ago. So I don't remember exactly, but I had one bullet missing in my מחסנית. How do you say מחסנית? Magazine? Okay, in the magazine, one bullet missing. And the officer shot it at me. If we had 29 bullets in the magazine, so, and I had only 28. So he shot, and if 89 terrorists will come, you know, you'll be dead. So therefore you should be punished because actually you are sacrificing yourself. It's just kind of a suicide, he said, when you don't have 29 bullets and only 28 bullets, okay? And I had 7 of them. I mean, 7, one of them one bullet was missing, okay? So this is but this is one claim. The second claim, if we learn it there, he said that actually, continuing this idea, that it's very difficult to draw the line, okay? But there are other argues, that are supporting his opinion. And let's read the Chazon Ish, okay? Let's read the Chazon Ish. We'll read, you see the line here, the three rows before the end, okay? Sfek pikuach nefesh. The line starts with the word sfek. You see it in the right hand side. Okay, sfek pikuach nefesh, bidvarim atidim, אלא לא מקרה ספק פיקוח נפש בדברים עתידים שבהווה אין להם זכר, ובאמת שאין אנו בקיאים בעתידות. ופעמים שמה שחשבונם להצלה מתהפך לרועץ, והילקח אין דנים בשביל עתידות רחקות. Okay, so he says another thing, and that is the following. Let's say we permitted to do autopsy, and now we have the information. Are you sure that this information will be relevant when the case will appear? The case will appear in 2 years. Maybe in the meantime, you'll have different knowledge, different information, different approach. You learn all kinds of, so therefore, you may discover that what actually you said, I'm planning, or I'm looking above or over the horizon, and I feel that there is a necessity. Who said that you'll meet in your life more people that are having this illness? Who said that we have it? I'll give you. We have it in what?
Today, that's
okay. What?
Because surgeons specialize.
Yeah.
So if they specialize in, I don't know, lung operations, so they know that the.
I know, but I'm now regarding the state question, not the modern medicine. And he says something, and that's something that we use a lot in ethics, a lot of ethics, because in many ethics arguments. Argues, or disputes or disagreements or whatever, it's also a question of trying to guess what will be in the future, what will happen. For instance, I'm the chair of a committee, of the ethical committee of the National Center of Transplantation from live people, kidneys, okay? And now we have a big dispute about letting people to say, not personally, but as a group, who do you disagree to give your kidney? Not to Liverpool Ohadim, yeah? Or supporters, or not to Arabs, or not to Jews, or not to men, and not to women, and only to religious people, or only to non-religious people. It's a big disagreement. What is the extreme opinions? The extreme opinion from one side said he's a donor. As a donor, he can say whatever he wants because he will say no, and then people will die. People will die. So therefore, he has everything. And from the other side, the idea is that a state cannot take part in a kind of you know, kind of isolating people or discrimination. A state cannot be part of it. Okay, so this is now one of the questions. They say, I mean, the people today, if you will not let people to donate to whatever they want, to whoever they want, they will not come. So therefore, the numbers of people that are willing to donate their kidneys will collapse. Okay? What does they say from the other side? Who said? Who said? Why do you think they will not come? They will not come because they feel there is another option. One, there will be no other option. Okay? Then people will say, you know what? A, I'm willing to donate. And B, don't forget that everyone that is out of the list actually promotes the person that I want to donate to him. Let's say he's on the 278th place, and the state is forcing me to give my kidney, I'm willing to give my kidney to the first one on the list, so he'll be next week on the number 277 already, yeah, because the first one is out of the list. Okay, so maybe we will be able to convince. Now, it's a good question. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And what the Chazon Ish says, you never know. You assume all kinds he actually says two things. One, you never know what will happen in the future. In fact, and B, you never know if the information or the decisions that you made because of this autopsy will have any value facing the case that will if it will come in the future. Okay, it's a kind of a sfeika. Yeah, it's a kind of a sfeika. So therefore, if I'm trying to explain what are and many rabbinical authorities really use the Noda B'Yehuda in order, and most of them, I mean, more conservative not from the conservative movement, I mean conservative opposing liberal, yeah? And most of them say you should make decisions only with chole amutal lefaneinu, yeah? Only when there is a case. What we are learning in this shiur, that's very good when it's a question of a individual person or even for a congregation, okay, for a small town, village, whatever. But conducting a state is something completely different. I'll give you, for instance, a good example. Today there are in Israel approximately 8 million people. Approximately between 7 to 8 million people, okay? Do you agree that probably in 120 years, I mean, during those following, the next 120 years, we'll need 8 million graves. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, it depends. Yeah, but we'll need 8 million graves. Okay? Where? Where will we bury the people? You know, Israel is very small. And actually, burying people is one of the big problems. I don't know if you know, near Summit Morasha, in the center of Israel, it's one of the biggest cemeteries, and it's going to be full. Okay? Now, what? Okay, so this is a kind of halachic decision. Now, there are all kinds of halachic decisions that you can make that will actually every person, you'll need much less ground in order to bury someone. Okay?
Where in the like Tanakh or something you see?
Definitely. Are you going to use this?
No, I'm asking where in the Tanakh that you see that you need to bury people.
No doubts about that. That's no doubts about that. כי כבוד יקברנו ביום ההוא. No doubts about that. Okay? So let's start the kind of. No. There's no doubts about it. You must bury people, okay?
Yeah, but I heard like in Mishnah times that they used to bury people and then take out the bones.
Okay, that's burying. That's burying in a different.
Yeah, but then you don't have to keep a grave.
That's what I'm. No, you have. You must keep a grave. You did the bones.
Then why did they take out the bones?
They took them and collect them and bury them again. They
had like claws sort of.
Doesn't matter, but this is also.
Yeah, well, it takes way less.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Ah,
okay, that's exactly what I'm saying. So, let's come to if you'll come to a conservative posek halacha, and you'll tell them, if we'll not do that today, and we'll not change our customs and our halacha of how to bury people, we'll find ourselves in 120 years that half of Israel will be graves. Not half, I'm exaggerating, but a large amount of land, and Israel doesn't have land, will be full of graves, okay? Is this, now I'm asking not what's the answer. You understand that if the approach is choleh mutal lefaneinu, this posek halacha will say the following. He'll say, first of all, it's a slippery slope, because then people will claim that you can also burn bodies and, you know, put it in a kad, yeah, in a vaza, or we'll say all kinds of, we are trying to avoid dismissing or destroying all kinds of cemeteries in Rome, in Vienna, in London, and whatever. You lose your position because you see that it's not so holy. The cemetery is not so holy. All kinds. That's a slippery slope. 1. 2. You don't know what will happen in the next 120 years. Maybe we'll occupy Jordan, Syria, who knows, yeah? Maybe there'll be an earthquake, and all the cemetery will, actually, you know, that there was an earthquake in Israel, a small one, but there was. Every time it's raining here, you feel like an earthquake, okay? So maybe there'll be something like this. So you want to make all kinds of decisions. Excuse me, I told you that we'll have to stop in the middle. What should be our main approach towards the question of conversion? Really, is it the same thing like it was, or that is in the diaspora or everywhere else, where the question is of an individual? Someone is coming with his kids, not with his children, without his children, I mean, and you're dealing, you know, asking questions and saying he's prepared to go over in conversion or whatever, or are you asking yourself a nation question? And that is, as part of this conversation, what will be the future? And again, the conservative rabbis say, I mean the rabbis that adopt a conservative approach say, 1, it's a slippery slope, because saying you want to avoid intermarriage, yeah, and all kinds of things. Okay, that's you'll actually accept everyone that is, you know, without any conditions and without any indicators that he's really part of it. And then, second, you never know what will happen in the future. Maybe, you know, all the Gentiles that are part of the halachik Gentiles, that's part of the Jewish society, will in the next years will decide to leave Israel and to go back to who said what will be in the future? And maybe in the future, or maybe everyone will be chozer b'tshuva, and in the future everybody will be willing to go over real, you know, the 100% demands of conversions. Yeah, so it's again the same question. The same question. More than that, Rav Moshe Feinstein, that's the last tshuva here, that he went much further on, saying that not only because of choleh mutal lefaneinu, he asked a different question. He asked, in order to avoid any changes, to stop it, he asked, okay, let's say that it really can prevent disasters. And maybe really the information is very important in order to save someone else, you know, somebody that will have the same disease in the future. But who said it's your responsibility as an MD? There's no responsibility of MD to let's say that way. Let's ask a question. Are you, no, let's ask a question towards you. Everyone here, do you have a mission? Are you forced by halacha to go to learn medicine in order to, you know, rescue people and save their life? No. Why not? Okay? Give the answer, why not? And then he'll say the same thing. Who said that the MD has to have all the information? Okay, that's what he knows, and he can do whatever he wants. But we can't find any nothing that is forcing the doctor to have more knowledge. Because if the answer will be that a doctor must have more knowledge, so you will not have any good answer to distinguish between your personal decision not to be doctors, not to go to learn medicine, and his position. You understand? It's a nice svara. So he says, let me first of all read it. We'll read only the last two lines. וכן הוא גם במה שאינו מחויב להתלמד להיות רופא כדי שיוכל לרפות חולים, ולכן גם לנתח מתים כדי להתלמד מזה איזו רפואה, נמי אין על האדם שום חיוב, וממילא אסור שהוא משום נבול המת. Now that's a clever svara, but you feel that something is wrong. It's really clever.
Well, wouldn't you say that just as every kila does tefillah for Rofei Cholem Israel,
Yeah.
so the same way you've got some kind of responsibility for...
Okay, that's my way. That's the way of thinking of a state. Ken, okay?
I'm thinking about it as a student in yeshiva.
Yeah.
To say that, like, I feel like my job is to learn as much as possible.
Okay.
And to know as much as possible.
Okay.
For a doctor, to say that a doctor doesn't need to, like...
No. That is not the situation. But you, if you want to compare, will you say because I must learn everything in order to be a great Talmid Chacham, I'm permitted to steal someone else's Gemara? Then your answer will be no. Okay, the same thing this doctor. Okay, this doctor, are you permitted to steal the body? I mean, the answer will, this is what you should compare. Now, Rav Moshe Feinstein will not say that the doctor, it will be very nice of the doctor to try to learn more and more. But now, here's a scene. Okay, so this against this, and then you have to decide to make the decision. Okay? What?
About the family in the whole situation.
Whose family?
The dead guy's family. If you say they would say they know him and they would think that he would give his...
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I said it before. I'm not sure that they have any position.
Can you use Zchut
Nowadays, that's
What?
they do.
Use like Zchut Adam?
Oh, that's what we said. We said he used the idea of Zchut Adam shelo befanav. He used it, in the beginning. The person that said bat, that's really it fits exactly what Rav Stav told today, that we have to check one kind of zchut, because if you are learning theologically, it's a great zchut. But personally, I'm not sure it's a zchut, because I know from practicing, I know that there are many people that are willing to sacrifice their own life. It's almost suicide in order to remain and to get to I mean, that after they die, their body, their whole body will be buried. For instance, if they have any kinds of pollution in their leg, okay, and you have to cut it. You have to cut it in order to save their life, and they'll have quite good quality of life for another 20 or 30 years. There are many people that say, no, I'm preferring to die because I want to come as a whole body to the grave, because Tchiyat HaMetim, whatever, I don't know what is the reason. What?
Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Bob Marley.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. Now, okay. So therefore, let's so what did we study today? Today we studied actually what I'm claiming is the following: more you read their things, these kinds of arguments, you understand what is the difference between individuals and congregations and a state. I can support this opinion, these three levels of opinion. One, the slippery slope. Second, that you don't know what will be in the future and what manipulation can you do today in the present. thinking or assuming that you know what is the future all about, and therefore you can really destroy everything by saying that in the future will be this and this, so therefore I'm permitted to do now everything. And third, what Moshe Feinstein said, it's not my personal mission or necessity, or nobody demands from me to make scenes in order to expand my knowledge. Okay, so these I can understand them and represent them when you are dealing on individuals. But this, I think, is the best way to demonstrate our shiur. To demonstrate the necessity of our shiur, to explain that once you are trying to create and to conduct and to control a Jewish state, then those claims are unacceptable. Okay?
Is there a problem with autopsies on non-Jewish bodies?
So
I'm asking because
no. First,
send them theoretically to the States for 2 years, so they all do their.
Okay, I know. Okay, that's let's say that. Let's ask ourselves if theoretically the conclusion may be the following: in Israel there will be no medicine school. Okay, but Israel will subsidize and give grants and all kinds of scholarships to students that will go to learn medicine somewhere in Houston, and then they'll come back as theoretically can this solution, A, is it reasonable?
No.
And B is, let's say it is possible. Will you say that this is actually the halacha opinion about the Jewish state? You understand? Or, as you said, is the halacha opinion is that Israel will try to import Gentiles' bodies in order to, in eBay. Now, Haredi rabbis will say yes. Will say, actually, there is no halacha that says that you should have a medicine school. Yeah? And actually, there's no halacha that you shouldn't buy bodies on eBay. So therefore, this is the way. What I'm claiming, this is nonsense.
Is there a difference halachically between someone who donates in their life?
So he says that, now, we read in the Noda B'Yehuda that, if you remember this line, he said, even Goyim are doing autopsy only on bodies or the people that were executed, or that they gave the permission.
You said then, that seems like ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't say ridiculous. I said I can't understand if there is halacha that is saying that you cannot utilize bodies, why does the permission solve this problem? If it's a tzelem elakim, so you must bury it not because I want to be buried, because the idea of giving the permission, I'm not saying it's ridiculous. I'm saying you have to prove it. To prove it that actually you own your body regarding this issue, and actually depends on your decisions. From my ethical opinion, I want to say something about organ donation. From my ethical opinion, I think that the person and the family, definitely the family, don't have any position on the giving permitting to organ donation or not. From the other hand, I don't think that my body is anyone's bodies belongs to the state. So, what is my opinion? My opinion, bichlal, is that you don't have to ask for permission in order to take organs, because of what I call it as a insurance system. What is the meaning of insurance? Not real insurance. I mean, the model is insurance. What I claim is that Israel should change the law completely, and Israel should say the following: when you're going to the hospital, you know that if you will need organs, you'll get them. Okay? What do you pay for it? What do you pay for it? Your premium is you're willing. Automatically. Not that anyone is ask you to sign anything. I think that's insurance. That's the system, because that's arevut. Kol Yisrael arevim ze b'ze. And that means the following: because you know that if you are being, if you need it, chas v'shalom, you'll get it. So your premium is willing to give it. So definitely, automatically, everyone that is coming into the hospital actually agrees that if chas v'shalom something will happen to him, and it's not only to the hospital, actually everyone that is living in the state of Israel, his premium of getting organs is the fact that he is willing to give them. That's my opinion. Maximum, let's make compromise, what we call opting out. Okay, that if he signs a opposite Eddie has to sign, don't take, don't give. Okay.
Don't take, don't give. In other words, if he's not willing to give, he's not going to be able to get.
Yeah, okay. I can understand that.
So do you agree with people who say, on this committee, did you agree with people who say that people should be able to say, I don't want Arabs to get my organs?
No, that's a completely different issue. Now it's a completely different to who to give it to. Okay?
Is what you're saying like halachik or like more ethical or both?
No, first of all, it's ethical. Okay? Now, when I'm asking what will the halacha say, it's a good question, because first of all, let's assume that the halacha, and that's, for me, it's not assumption, it's halacha. Let's assume that the halacha permits to give organs, to transplant organs. Okay, let's admit. So if it permits, I think that the halacha actually is forcing. It's not only permission, because lo ta'amod al dam re'echa. Actually is forcing, okay? Now, but the question is, who has the authority to impose the halacha? I don't want to give the state the power to impose lo ta'amod al dam re'echa on myself. So therefore, I prefer to come with the insurance idea. And I think that it fits halacha. It fits halacha that if you are willing to give, if you are willing to take, your premium is you're willing to give. Someone that doesn't want to give and that doesn't want to take should opting out. This is, I think, the right thing to do. And
can you do it also to non-Jews?
Definitely. Definitely. No, that's not the same thing.
No. If you do nivul hamet.
No, nivul hamet is mefakchim agal is Shabbat, is skila, we're talking about nivul hamet is in order to save life of a Gentile. The answer is yes, because of two reasons. First of all, yes, with a capital Y. But even if the answer would be, maybe not, but don't forget that what I said before. Every Gentile, let's say it's not permitted to give to Gentiles, but every Gentile that gets organs, he's out of the list, so therefore, a Jew that is number 8, now he becomes number 7. I mean, actually, you're saving a life of Yehudi, you're promoting him, you're escalating him, that's one thing. And the second thing is, if this week there was a horrible car accident where Arabs were injured, and they were willing to donate organs. So don't forget that if you are saying no to Arabs, actually you are endangering Jews, because Arabs are also will say the same thing. We are not going to donate. Okay, so don't go into it.
You are halachically allowed, I just don't know, you are allowed to halachically get organs from a non-Jew?
Betach. Yeah, definitely. It's maybe we'll be very surprised that what is the animal that is similar to a person? What? Pigs. So let's say, in some cases we take all kinds of, not organs, but all kinds of cells from pigs.
For diabetic people?
Yeah, all kinds of things, yeah. No, there are all kinds of things that we do. It's too difficult for me to explain in English.
Is it allowed to give organs in Fußlarets where they might have different standards for what brain death is?
I don't think there are different standards. If yes, if there are different standards, then the answer is no, because it may be considered as murder. Okay, but as far as I know, actually, there's no today, because I can see a situation where doctors or ethics experts will say that, let's say, if someone is already 25 years not responding to any kinds of things, his tzemach, as we say, is a plant. So you can take organs and kill him. I can say something. I can see in the future that someone will say such a thing, but we are not in this case. I want something very interesting in Israel. There was a special committee that analyzed every organ donation, every single organ donation in Israel, to see if actually it was done completely according to the law and according to halacha. The head of this was a very, very famous professor that is a very famous rabbi. He's a rabbi, professor, very, very admired. Professor Steinberg, he's very known and very admired. And he checked 251 cases. And out of 251 cases, 251 were done completely according to the law, according to halacha. I have his letter in my laptop that he is ensuring, and he's saying, I can say that 100% of the cases that I checked were exactly according to halacha and according to the law. And that's something that I think you cannot deny. Yeah, it's really something that you cannot ignore. It's part of this. Okay, so let's summarize. What we studied today was as I said, the other side of the coin, and understanding what is the meaning of individual psak. Yeah, and what are and we can. As I said, I can defend it. I can explain it. I can do that. Everything, but saying that, I think this is the best way to demonstrate why we must have Hilchot Medina. Yeah, why we must have Hilchot Medina, because you cannot conduct a Jewish state according to these principles. These principles are the right halachic principles, considering and regarding individuals or even small congregations all over the world where the responsibility is in other hands. Once we are responsible to train, to teach, to promote the medicine system in the state of Israel, so therefore you have to have a completely different approach. But again, there's a red light here. Where are your boundaries? Okay, so that's a good, because actually you can say every first-year student that is doing any kind of survey or research can take, parts and use it. Maybe in the future we'll discover that it had influence on developing science. Okay, so it's really where do you draw the line? It's really very important. And good questions that you ask. Let's say that someone donated his body to science. What is the halacha opinion of that? And on this issue, there are a lot of tshuvat as individuals. But as far as I remember, I read all of them. All of them, most of them said it's prohibited, and even told that the children cannot say Kaddish and not to bury him. I don't know, whatever. Okay, but as far as I remember, no one of them asked or dealt with the question: how should we have medicine school without autopsy? Yeah, so how should we have it? And because we are, as rabbis, we know very good to say what's wrong, but we are not responsible. That's one of the problems, to ask what what should be done, and how should medicine in Israel will improve and will advance, and that's a good. This shiur is actually trying to convince you that we must change the approach in order to create halacha in a Jewish state. Okay?